Welcome everybody to Hellfire Dual Blades Build. I am the 7th Sword and now it's time. Real quick, spoilers and stuff. I'm going to be talking about high rank stuff and monsters and equipment, so if you just don't want to be spoiled on certain stuff that's in the game, then you should probably click away. First things first, I want to go over the equipment that I have, and then we're going to go over all of the skills that this equipment gives me and the decorations that I have on, so that you can see how this whole thing works. And then I'm going to explain how it all melds together, and then I'm going to showcase how the build works in battle. So for the dual blades themselves, I have the Sinister Famine Blades. They have an attack of 200, inherent blue sharpness, they have blast 20, no affinity, no defense bonus, and they have a level 2 slot decoration and a level 1 slot decoration. Quick note, I do have the Magnamalo Soul as a rampage skill, and I'm going to go over all of that in just a moment. For the helmet, I have the Skull Visage. It has a level 3 decoration slot and a level 2 decoration slot. The inherent skill on the helmet is Fortify level 1. That is the max level of Fortify. On the chest piece, I have the Sinister Garb S, and it comes with 1 level 2 decoration slot. The inherent skills are Hellfire Cloak level 1 and Resentment level 1. For the gauntlets, I have the Sinister Gauntlets. It comes with 1 level 2 decoration slot, and the inherent skills are Hellfire Cloak and Handicraft. Handicraft is at level 2. For the coil, I have the Utsushi Tassets. It comes with 1 level 1 decoration slot, and the inherent skills on this piece of armor are Agitator level 2 and Wirebug Whisperer level 1. For the greaves, I have the Gos Harag Greaves. It comes with 1 level 1 decoration slot. And the inherent skills on this piece of armor are Punishing Draw level 1 and Agitator level 3. Now the Petalace is actually inconsequential for this showcase. However, if you want to eke out a little bit more damage and collect spiribirds while you hunt, I recommend the Demon Petalace because you can get an attack boost up to 20. This build is a high raw damage build with a little bit of affinity built in once certain conditions are met. So I actually got pretty lucky with this talisman. This talisman has Hellfire Cloak level 2 and a level 2 decoration slot. It also has Muck Resistance level 2, but I would love if they could replace that with attack level 1, but I don't know if such a talisman exists, but I wish it does, because you're going to see in a moment that there's one thing that I wish that I could do better on this build, and I'm pretty sure you're going to spot it right away. Now let's get into the decorations. On my dual blades, I have an attack jewel and a grinder jewel. On the helmet, I have 2 attack jewels. On the chest piece, I have 1 attack jewel. On the gauntlets, I have an attack jewel. On the coil, I've got a grinder jewel. On the greaves, I have a grinder jewel. And on the talisman, I have an attack jewel. Now with all of that working together, these are the skills that you get. And I'm going to go into all of how this works right now. But first, I just want to point out that yes, I know attack boost is at 6, and it's just, I tried so hard to get this to 7, and there is no way to do it unless there is that talisman that I mentioned earlier. I'm thinking of all these different combinations, and maybe I missed something, and maybe some savvy hunter in the comments below can point out how I could get Agitator 5, Hellfire Cloak 4, and attack boost up to 7. If there's someone out there that knows how to get attack boost up to 7 with all these 3 skills on there at maxed out, that would be beautiful. Please, outside of a talisman, if I could do it with armor, please let me know if this is possible. But the first thing I'm actually going to now explain to you is Hellfire Cloak, because this is the linchpin skill that I've made this build completely around. And it is actually really fun once it's all synergizing and working together and you have a high raw damage output. Hellfire Cloak is actually a blight that will inflict your hunter at some point during the battle. If you fought Magnamalo, Magnamalo actually inflicts a Hellfire Blight on you during the fight. The first time you encounter it, it is horrible, and if it hits you and it explodes, you die. It's very bad. However, once you've beaten Magnamalo and you gain the skill Hellfire Cloak, you can turn that negative experience into a very, very fun one. So with this skill equipped, at level 1, it reduces the damage from Hellfire. This reduces the damage from the explosion that takes place after the blight has extinguished itself on your character. It reduces the damage dramatically. It's just a little tick of health now that happens to you. At level 2, it actually will increase the damage from Hellfire blasts. What this means is that when your character is enveloped in that purple flame during the battle, and you use a wire bug dash, you actually dash the flame off of you, and it will stay wherever you've dashed, and then it'll actually explode. If that hits a monster, that'll do damage. Level 2 increases the amount of damage that explosion does, but there's actually something else that explosion does. If you time it right, if you time it when you're hitting a monster, the very first time that a Hellfire Blight explodes and hits a monster during a battle, that monster will get instantaneously knocked down. Now that knockdown is not as long as a standard one, but it is long enough that if you do it right and you time it and they land in the right spot, you can get off a really damaging combo. At level 3, Hellfire Blight will be inflicted on your character once a monster you are fighting becomes enraged. And at level 4, it'll actually keep that effect going for 1 more minute after the monster's rage has subsided. Now you might be going, why would you want to be inflicted with Hellfire Blight? That sounds like a terrible time. Well, it's actually not, because again, the damage is significantly reduced. And let me just show you something really quick. Remember Magnamalo Soul, that ability that I talked to you about just a moment ago? Well, its effect is that it increases your attack when you are afflicted by Hellfire status. So whenever you have that purple flame attached to you, you actually get stronger. Now I want to get into the other skills and how it all works together. I have Agitator at level 5. At level 5, it increases my attack by 20 and my affinity by 15% while it's active. How do you activate it? It becomes active when large monsters become enraged. Hellfire Cloak is also happening when monsters become enraged. So every time the monster is getting enraged, you are getting a massive damage buff, not only because of the Magnamalo Soul, but because of the Agitator at level 5, which is why I decided to go with Attack Boost, because at level 6 it increases your attack by 8% and it does a bonus 9. Because my affinity is relatively low, I decided that Attack Boost might be the better option. I do want to test it out with 6 affinity decorations to see, but I wanted to just go straight up max raw attack and see how much damage you could do. And the number gets pretty high up there in terms of the raw damage stat. I'm going to show you in just a moment. I have Speed Sharpening at level 3 because it removes 3 cycles from the sharpening process, which is actually very important for dual blades because they eat through sharpness like no one's business, and being able to sharpen very quickly during a fight can keep your damage up, because for every additional level of sharpness you have, right now white being the highest, you actually get a little bit of a damage buff, and when you break through to the next lower level of sharpness, you're losing some damage as you go. Handicraft is at level 2. It increases some of that weapon sharpness that we just talked about. Muck Resistance, again, this is just a bonus skill, negates limits to movement speed. Resentment actually gives you a boost in your damage when you have recoverable health, so the red part of your health after you get hit by a monster. If that portion is active in your health bar, you actually get an additional 5 attack at level 1. It gets higher with each level, but I'm only able to have it on level 1 currently. Punishing Draw is one of those... Punishing Draw is another one of those skills that's just kind of a bonus. It's not something I planned to be there. It applies a minor chance to stun and increases the attack power of my draw attack by 3. Not super useful for dual blades, but not entirely terrible to have on either, as you can put dual blades away very quickly and then use a draw attack pretty efficiently. But where Punishing Draw honestly shines is the longsword, because you can literally do a sheath attack and you can activate Punishing Draw whenever you want and much more smoothly. Fortify is actually a pretty nice skill to have, because if you get KO'd during a hunt, that's when it procs. And when it procs, it'll increase your attack by 10% and your defense by 15% with each use. You can actually activate it twice during a hunt, because if you faint 3 times, the hunt is over. It's not a bad ability to have, especially if you have Dango insurance. However, I would not plan a fight around using Fortify, and I'm not going to in this next one. I'm not going to have it active when I showcase what this build is capable of. It's just nice to have it in case something bad happens. And finally, we have Wirebug Whisper. This is not something that I planned to be on the build, but it's nice nonetheless, because actually at level 1, it'll extend the duration you can keep a Wirebug that you find on the field for 30%. This is pretty useful for dual blades because you have an additional dodge now, or an additional kunai, or just an additional Wirebug skill of your choice to use whenever you need to. One thing I want to quickly mention is that I do have a power talon and I do have a power charm. It's something that I recommend all hunters have in their item pouch because these items increase your attack, and it's just something that's very useful to have with you. Alright, so now I'm out on a hunt, and the first things first, I want to show you what my raw damage is at this moment. So right now my attack is at 240 while I'm out in the field here, and just to show you, when I go into Feral Demon mode, because Feral Demon mode also gives you an attack boost, my attack is actually at 283 right now. Alright, so we're gonna fight this Great Azuchi here real quick. I'm gonna pick up the Wirebug, but I just wanted to show you again. I'm still at the 240. I didn't pick up any spiribirds or anything like that. So let's go ahead and show you how the build works. What's nice about this build is it's got blast on it, so you'll proc that blast damage a lot too. And there it is. I've got the Hellfire Blade. So let me show you knocking down the monster. Boom. There you go. See, monster gets knocked down right when you want it to. Alright, so now I've got the Hellfire Blight on me. In Feral Demon mode, when the monster's enraged and everything, I have 315 attack. Now if you get hit, you actually get hit out of your Fire Blight, so please keep that in mind. Also, if you bring your cat with you, your cat will cure you of your Hellfire Blight. So don't do it. Alright, so that's the Hellfire Blight build. Let me know what you think. I'm actually going to leave an unedited fight now with a Magnamalo. For the fight, I am going to be putting on some layered armor, but it is the exact same build that you saw before.
Let's see. Back to the village.